Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Pittsburgh Sports Memories Current Events. Yay, we made it. We made it this far, Tim. I'm a co-host, Steve Wirt, and I'm joined by.
I'm Tim Hannon.
First off, we're gonna start with some Pirates news. Bucksapalooza. Can you believe it? We're gonna talk Pirates.
We need we need we need some drop music for that one.
Yeah, the Pirates made three moves. Count them. 1, 2, 3. First, they traded pitcher Mike Burrows for second baseman Brandon Lowe. It was a three-team deal with the Astros. Lowe hit 31 home runs and was an all-star for the Rays. Oh, that was just last year. Oh, wow. They signed first baseman Ryan O'Hearn. He's the first multi-year free agent signing since 2016. It's that pitcher. Was it all Octavio Dotel? Was it the last? I think
I
that was the
think
last.
so.
Yeah. O'Hearn was an all-star for the Orioles in 2025. So that's another guy that just had recent success. So they also signed left-handed pitcher Gregory Soto. He was an all-star with Detroit several years ago, but he's been bad the last couple. And there is this rumor, and this, I guess, is the big crown jewel rumor, is they're looking to get a 29-year-old third baseman named. I'm gonna butcher this name, but I apologize to Mrs. whatever, Kazumu Akamoto, a six-time All-Star in Japan. So whether that translates to American baseball, last night Chun Ho Gong worked out pretty well for a couple seasons till that guy slid into his knee. So I don't know, Tim. I mean, it seems like they did something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is O'Hearn gonna be okay? He hit like what 17 or 20 home runs. He did hit a lot of home runs. The guy from the Brandon Lowe hit some home runs. So they got hitting, and that's what they needed. And if these guys can hit even decently, if they can hit just mediocrely as a team, they'll probably be at least in the playoff hunt, wouldn't you think, Tim, if the pitching holds?
Yeah, that's what they needed. They needed bats, and these guys are quality bats. And there's all those rumors that they had gone hard after Schwarber, and of course they didn't get him.
Nobody believed it.
No, nobody believed it, but
Yeah.
the way to make people believe that. Okay, well, if you're going to pay him all that money, then use that money elsewhere, and so far they are.
It might not work out. Like it isn't like
No,
guaranteed that all these guys
no,
work out. I mean,
no, but all you ask is that they try, right? And
well,
and this
that's a
is
pretty low bar to step over.
it
Yeah.
is, but going back to I went on a rant a couple weeks ago about how nobody's objective is a sports fan anymore, right? It's either
But
one
I mean,
extreme or the other.
what fan is short for, right,
It's
Tim?
fanatic, I know,
So
but
you don't have to be objective. I mean, that's the job of sports reporters. Well, it used to be. I think, we've gotten to the Skip Bayless, who's the other guy, Stephen A. Smith, not to be confused with Stephen A. Word. I'm the better Stephen A., I think. But like everybody's like a hot take, like, oh, the Pirates are just window dressing, or oh, the Pirates are going to the World Series. Like that seems, I guess, that gets more attention than just having a reasoned, objective opinion, too.
well, and I'm saying that to hold myself accountable because I still don't trust this ownership. I've bashed this ownership repeatedly on this show, and you know,
Never, Tim.
but
You?
but but what I said was, you have a window here. You finally have a window. You have the best player of this generation. You have Sidney Crosby now on your team, so at least try to do something to put some things around him. And objectively, they're doing that. They are doing that. So again, I have to give credit where it's due. They seem to be trying. I don't know if it'll work or not. I don't know if it's enough or not. They made their first multi-year deal, and of course, it's a 2-year deal. So it's like, oh, we did a 2-year deal. Now, in a vacuum, that's actually pretty smart because if you're going to
Because you
have a
don't want
work
to get
stoppage,
tied in. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that and the work stoppage. Yeah.
if you're going to have a salary cap, you don't want to commit to something you can't sustain. But so in a vacuum, that's kind of smart. But in a history of the Pirates, never making any kind of long-term deals. It's not, but whatever. You got to take what you can get. I'll take it. And in the Soto, that they signed him to be a middle reliever, I think they probably overpaid for somebody like that. But again, there it's something.
Have you
At
seen
this
what the
point, I'll take
Dodgers are
anything.
paying for pitching? So, I mean, the market is definitely
Right,
skewed
right,
right
right,
now.
right.
Moving on to a sport that's playing its regular season right now, and that would be Football Palooza, Tim. Woohoo! Which this might be the final week for Football Palooza here, right?
It might be.
Or one of the last, like this or the next episode.
We'll do a postscript.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And it might the postscript might be coming sooner than we thought it was last week.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So let's start up with the team that has finished their season, for better or worse. Pitt in the Military Bowl. It's actually the Military Let's Go Bowling Bowl. Did you know that, Tim? It was the Let's Go Bowling, like bowling, as in the sport bowling. If you notice that commercials with veterans bowling in a veterans league, it was a unique tie-in, I guess. I guess it was kind of punny. Yeah.
That makes me care about it even less.
So Eastern Carolina, it was so important to Eastern Carolina that their starting running back and quarterback decided I'm going to go somewhere else. And I think a couple other, like their tight end and wide receivers, they had it was basically their backups. And so Pitt had basically all their starters playing Eastern Carolina's backups. And I think Pitt was a 10 or 12 point favorite. And so, of course, what does Pitt do? They lose an embarrassing failure. You're a huge embarrassing failure. And Pitt was, yes, they were. Mason Heichel was 20 of 40 for 256 passing yards, a touchdown and interception. Ja'Carrion Turner had 16 carries for 93 yards. He had a couple of fumbles too. ECU played some guy named Chasten Dita, who this was his first game ever, and he went a whopping. This is a whopping, Tim. Are you ready for these stats to knock you off your feet? 8 for 17. He's like Kenny Pickett in that one bowl game when he completed 8 passes and 2 touchdowns. So, whatever. Their star running back had 18 carries for 50 yards. They did nothing on offense. Eastern Carolina did nothing on offense, yet scored 24 points and won the game, kind of going away, quite honestly. I mean, the story of the game really was Pitt had 5 turnovers. I think they didn't make a couple 4th down plays too, so those count as turnovers. It was just it was one of the more horrific. Like, I thought, as bad as the first half went, Pitt goes into the half leading 7-3, and I figured, well, they get the ball first coming out of the second half. And I thought, maybe they'll finally take over this game. And I didn't think it was going to take 24 points to win this game. I thought if they scored like 17, I didn't see their offense doing much, but Pitt just kept turning the ball over. And Mason Heichel on the final play of the game, they had like a 4th down at like the 40-yard line, and it's like Hail Mary time, and he runs around, and instead of just throwing the ball up for grabs, he gets sacked. It's like, what was one more interception, dude? It was just terrible. Heichel for the year finished for 16 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That's not great. I will say this: he was better in the red zone than Eli Holstein was. And just for the record, Eli Holstein finished his season with 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So it's almost the exact same statistics, Tim. I don't know what to say. Pitt has collapsed in the last 2 seasons in kind of similar fashion. Although I will say the win against Georgia Tech kind of softened the blow a little between the bookends of Miami and Notre Dame there getting blown out. And then they end up losing to Toledo and ECU. Toledo, it wasn't great, but they were like they didn't have a quarterback that game. So it was like, whatever. But, it was such a positive season marred by late season losing streaks. I don't know what else to say about this team. I feel like it's a trend now that they don't finish up the year strong and they go on losing streaks at the end of the year. So
Yeah, you and I have completely different outlooks on the Pitt season.
Well, look. He had the exact same almost stats as Eli. Only I will say this: Eli was terrible in the red zone, and Holst and Heichel was better. That is a big difference.
It's a great example where stats don't even remotely tell the story. So number one, the bowl game, it's a farce. That's a complete farce. They don't play a down of football between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then these kids on their Christmas break are supposed to come out and be sharp. They're not. It's those games. Those games meant nothing before the college football playoffs. Now they mean they're just exhibitions. They're like the Pro Bowl. That's what they are. And I think the players start to care less and less about them every year, and that's why they get sloppier and sloppier. So I really could care less that they lost to East Carolina.
I don't. It's pretty embarrassing. I think that's pretty embarrassing.
I don't think it matters one bit.
I mean, in the grand scheme of thing, I guess as long as nobody got hurt, it doesn't matter.
Second thing, I don't know where you're getting losing streaks, late season losing streaks from. Last season, they lost their last 5 games of the season. This year,
they lost 2 out of their last 3, and by large margins.
they lost 2 out of their last 8, and yes, 2 out of their last 3 to literally 2 of the best teams in the country. I mean, Miami and Notre Dame were literally top 10 teams in the country. Did they play well? No, because they're not as good as Miami or Notre Dame, but they beat everybody else. And Heinzel, stats, I don't care about his stats. He came in, he beat every single team in the ACC except the one team that was in the playoff. He beat everybody else that he played. He saved the season. They were 2-2, and they were on life support.
I will say this: this game against ECU kind of reminded me of the Syracuse game. Only they didn't turn it over as much as they did in the Syracuse game, and that's why they won the Syracuse game and lost this game, because ECU had about the same amount of offense that Syracuse was going to have, and Syracuse quarterbacks were just god awful. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I see a trend that they seem to tail off at the end of the season.
If tailing off means that they can't beat Miami and Notre Dame, I'm sorry, that's not like a collapse.
If then losing to ECU, Tim, and their backups.
Oh no!
In a game that's not even competitive.
Oh no!
Come on!
Remember that time that the AFC lost the Pro Bowl? I was so disappointed. I couldn't believe that.
I think it's a little bit more meaningful than the Pro Bowl.
I don't think it is. I think
it's not an all-star game. I mean, these are regular teams with their regular rosters
that haven't played a game of football in a month.
Neither has who's played in the playoff. Next.
They play immediately. They started the playoff 1 week after
but the teams that had the bye, like Indiana, hasn't played in a while.
Fair, but it's not 2 weeks, or it's not a month, and it doesn't.
It's been at least 2 or 3 weeks,
and it means something.
Well, that's true. It does mean more than this. I think bowls are going to go away, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if people want to play them, that's fine. I mean, it's just disappointing. It was very frustrating because I think if ECU would have had all their starters, and I would have been a little bit, it's not a great loss, but, you lost to a team that wanted to show up that day. It's just that this was a bad loss.
Pitt could have lost that game 84-2, and I would have still felt the exact same way about the season.
I don't know.
The season was a good season. That Heinzel beat everybody except 2 really good teams, and he's 18
ECU.
years old.
He didn't beat Miami, Notre Dame, and ECU. One of these things. So you're telling me ECU is as good as Miami and Notre Dame?
I'm telling you that the ECU game meant nothing. It's a farce. It's an exhibition.
The exhibition, whatever they lost.
Well, don't compare it to don't compare it to the Pro Bowl. Then compare it to a Steelers preseason game. If you're going to talk about fair. 2 teams maybe playing each other, that's all it is. It's an exhibition.
But they played the starters the whole game, Tim.
Yeah, but it still doesn't matter. They haven't played football for a month. They weren't sharp. They looked like a team that hadn't played football in a month, that was on their Christmas break, that went there to just to go.
So I don't know where that leaves Pitt. Maybe if this game was worth something and meant something, like you said, and it was more sandwiched in the middle of the season, Pitt runs away with this and beats them
Yeah.
like they did everybody else. But I don't know. Against the top tier competition that they were lacking. I will say this: in a big game against Georgia Tech, Heitzel did come through. So maybe that shows something.
And every other game he played, he came through.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was a big game. And not that the Georgia Tech defense was playing well, but it's still a big game, and he still played well, and he was a big reason they won, so
and he's 18. He's an 18-year-old freshman.
that's true. That's true. So I think you're saying, like, my next question was, which way do you think Pitt football is trending for next season?
I think it's trending up. Now, I thought that last year. I thought Holstein had a decent.
I thought so too. I thought if he wasn't hurt, they'd be okay. I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence. Like, I would love to think they're trending up, but maybe I've just been a Pitt fan for too long, and it just seems like we're going to get the rug pulled out from us.
Yeah, I get it. Pitt has hurt us. Has done mostly nothing but hurt us. So I get it, and I share that. But Heinkel, this kid that just won the Heisman, Mendoza. You know what he was doing when he was 18? He was redshirting, and then in his first year at Cal, you know what he did? He went 3-5 with 10 interceptions.
Well, this is a lot better than that.
Yeah. So again, he's 18. He's a freshman. He got thrust in the middle of the season to ask to save the season.
I will say this: Pitt's wide receivers weren't that good this year. Yeah. They were mediocre on a good day.
I like the offense that we run. It's a really good offense. He seems to have command of it.
I just don't know about the offense. It hasn't performed against top competition. And that might just be a Josh's and Joe's, not an X's and O's thing.
Miami and Notre Dame, they just weren't as good as Miami and Notre Dame.
Well, even on the,
the offense averaged 35 points a game this year. I'll take that any season. I will take an offense,
except for against ECU, Notre Dame, and Miami.
Yeah, sorry, 35 points in the games that counted.
It still counts against the record.
It means nothing. It's a farce. I'm sorry. The Military Bowl means absolutely nothing.
Meant a lot to the military. So you're saying you don't like the military, Tim? Don't respect the military? Oh my gosh! Oh no! It's not the president. No, I get what you're saying, and I hope they do. I mean, I hope this is just a bump in the road. I hope it's just a bump in the road, not a trend in the wrong direction. So you're going bump in the road.
What, the bowl game? I wouldn't even consider the bowl game a bump in the road. I would consider that, like I said, that's like something that's off to the side of the road that I don't even notice as I'm driving by.
It's like
if you're talking about the Miami and Notre Dame games, yeah, it's proof that we're not anywhere in the same class as Miami or Notre Dame, but it's something to build off of. It's something to say, hey, Heinkel's going to be a sophomore with most of a season under his belt, assuming he comes back. This whole NIL stuff, you never know. But assuming he comes back, then they can build off of that. And again, maybe they don't. Like I said, I thought Holstein would build off of last year, and he fell apart. So you never know, but I like him.
He's shown that he can start. It's just they got to get those interceptions out of his system. If he can be smart with the football, he can be a quality quarterback. Yeah. And when he scrambles, the way he scrambles and can throw on the run, there isn't a lot of guys that can do that. And Heitzel has that funky Phillip Rivers. I don't know what that is. He throws like Phillip Rivers. Now, Phillip Rivers is having a Hall of Fame career and had a pretty good season this year in Indianapolis. Well, something that everybody's interested in, and that would be your Pittsburgh Steelers, Tim. So, the Steelers, all they had to do was beat a 3-10 Browns team in Cleveland, but that's all they had to do. So, of course, the Steelers lose. Aaron Rodgers was 21 of 39 and 168 yards and no touchdowns, but no interceptions. And hey, he didn't get sacked, I don't think, or at least not by Myles Garrett. So there's something. Jalen Warren had 12 carries for 64 yards. The real story of the day was the Steelers going 3 for 15 on third down. And 0 for 3 on fourth down. That was probably more of what was their undoing. Sanders for the Browns, 17 for 23, 168 yards, 1 TD, but those 2 interceptions really probably could have cost them the game if the Steelers would have had any kind of offense. The defense probably played good enough to win. They held Cleveland to 78 yards rushing. Here, Tim. So why does Aaron Rodgers keep throwing to this Valdez-Scantling guy? Do they have some sort of past history? I thought this guy was from the Chiefs or something. I didn't get that at the end of the game because, like, it seemed like at the end of the game, him and Freiermuth were kind of having a lot of connections. And why don't you like just put Freiermuth out there or something? Or I don't know. It just seemed like Freiermuth had kind of a more hot hand than Valdez-Scantling, who him and Rodgers just weren't in sync with the whole game. Of course, not having DK Metcalf definitely hurt the team. There was no call at the end of the game. It could have been a pass interference, maybe not. I'm sorry, you just can't count on the refs 3 weeks in a row to bail you out.
Agreed.
Yeah, so now the Steelers, they play Baltimore in a playoff game. It's win or go home. The winner goes to the playoffs. The loser goes home. My conspiracy theory is, hey, guess what time the Steelers Ravens game is on Sunday, Tim?
It's the night game.
8:00 on NBC. Hey, what time do you think that game would have been if the Steelers would have won and clinched the division?
1:00.
Iron Eagle announcing the Iron Eagle JJ Watt game.
Yeah.
But now, boy, it's a Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico game that has lots of rate. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say that, but I don't know. I think it's more of the Steelers just are coached by Mike Tomlin, and he likes to lose these games. It was just like, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago that they would probably lose to Cleveland for no apparent reason.
Yeah, it was infuriating. I've just started to come off the cliff from it. It was like they had everything perfectly lined up. You know, either Baltimore loses or we win, and Baltimore goes and beats the tar out of Green Bay, and then it's like, okay, well, if we can just beat Cleveland, and I know Rodgers didn't have anybody to throw to because DK suspended and Calvin Austin's hurt and Darnell broke his arm in the middle of the game. And he was forcing balls into MVS. MVS used to play for Green Bay, by the way. You were asking if they had a prior.
I thought that somebody had said that. I remember him more for Kansas City.
Yeah, but he played for Green Bay way before that. But so you didn't have anybody to throw to, but you have to when your defense stops the other team from scoring in the middle of the first quarter and they never score again, you have to be able to win that game. And I just kept waiting the whole game. I'm like, okay, this is the drive where we finally march down the field and take the lead and never look back. And it just never happened until the very last second. And it didn't even happen then.
Well, because he kept throwing to that. I don't understand.
By that point, it was just lost. It was a lost cause. Like, if you're going to rely on the last play of the game from, with 5 seconds left, then that's going to be a low probability of success. They had plenty of other drives, plenty of other, like you said, third downs, fourth downs. Boswell missed another kick.
Well, that was a 50-yarder, I think.
Yeah, but still, it's like, my God. So the defense gets you 2 turnovers. They hold the other team from scoring for 3.5 quarters. You have to be able to win that. It was so infuriating.
You literally only had to score 14 points in that game.
Yes.
You score 14 points, you walk away a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
And this week is meaningless, and we're playing at 1:00 in front
and
of
we're resting all these guys that are hurt, and DK being suspended doesn't matter. So we blew it. We blew it big time. And now
there's that 90% chance of winning the AFC North, huh, Tim?
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be a 50-50 game, like we said a couple weeks ago, because it's all going to depend what team shows up, what Steelers team shows up, what Ravens team shows up.
Yeah, the Ravens aren't that good either.
Well, they're like us. They're totally bipolar. They one week they're garbage, and then the next week they go to Lambeau Field and Derrick Henry runs for 200 yards and they crush a playoff-bound Packers team that we couldn't beat. So you never know which team's going to show up on either side. I will say this: it's an intriguing matchup, Steve, because Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are kind of at that same point with their fan base, with their respective fan bases.
Well, yeah, I will say this: the Steelers, for their sake, had better get a lead early in this game, or fire Tomlin. That's going to be the whole game. The first 3 and out. Get ready, fire up those chants, because get ready, Mike. And, you've been untouchable your whole career. It's kind of interesting to see how Mike Tomlin responds to this. Is he going to walk away at the first? This is the first real criticism he's ever gotten in his whole coaching career. I mean, am I making a bad? I mean, everybody from the top down, even Colin Cowherd, it's so bad, like so obvious. He's like, oh, he's a made man. No one can criticize him. It's funny. It's just, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the first. I would say it's the most.
It's the first, Tim. I've never heard.
You've never heard people wanting.
The national media has never criticized it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about the fan base. I'm like, the fan base.
The fan base. Yeah, the fan base is
but they hate every coach. They hated Cowher. They hated Knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has pressure. Harbaugh has pressure. And it's kind of unfortunate because whoever loses Sunday night, that's going to be a potentially long off season or a lot of initial calls for, okay, Ravens or Steelers who commit to coaches for decades at a time. What are you going to do here? And the funny thing is, whoever wins is probably only going to delay that conversation for a week and probably be faced with the same conversation after that.
What if by some miracle of, I don't know, football, they end up winning the Super Bowl, the Steelers? You think Tomlin would retire?
I don't even want to have that conversation right now.
I think he would. I think he would ride off into the sunset.
The way they played last week, they're further away from the Super Bowl than the Tennessee Titans are.
Tennessee scored 30 points on Cleveland. So.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I at this point, let's see what happens this week. I don't even want to write a postscript on the season yet because, let's do that next week if they lose. And if they win, then hopefully we're talking about previewing a playoff game, which, that's the other funny thing is I was so angry that I just wanted this week. I'm going to that game on Sunday night, Steve. It's going to be freezing cold. It's going to be nighttime. And like you said, everybody's going to get so angry so fast. But what I was really looking forward to was to just not, to just being able to start Will Howard in this game and getting to rest everybody. But then I realized, honestly, Steve, even if that would have happened, the pressure still would have been on for whoever we play in the playoffs. In fact, the pressure would have been even greater because it's like, okay, now you have a home playoff game. You had a week to rest everybody. You have to win this one. So either way, whether they win or lose Sunday night, they still have to get over that hump of winning a playoff game. So it's really the next 2 weeks that matter. And then if they would lose after that, I think people would be a little more forgiving. That people still wouldn't be happy. And Baltimore's in the same boat. Their fan base,
fire Harbaugh. I don't know. Are they chanting fire Harbaugh?
The reason we hate there's a lot of pressure on Harbaugh right now. There's a lot of people who want him out. And that's why we hate the Ravens so much. It's just they're really a mirror image of us. And their fans are very similar. Their fans aren't satisfied with going to the playoffs and losing. They're not. They think that, they want more. They want Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl wins. And neither of those guys have provided that for quite a while.
It is funny. Would you call the fan base is spoiled? Like I shared a video of a gentleman that does YouTube videos, gets much more views than us. The KC. He does a behind the line YouTube podcast, and he's a Saints fan. And it's kind of similar to how I feel as a Pitt fan. Like, you're just happy when they go mediocre and make a bowl game. And he's like, the Saints have obviously had a long history of losing and not a lot of seasons. They've won a Super Bowl, but my goodness, what did it take to do it? And they fired a legendary coach, and they haven't been good since. Now, that coach probably had to go because of all the scandals he was involved with, lying to the NFL and such. But you wonder, and people always say you shouldn't think that way. If you fire Tomlin, is this, are the Steelers never going to be able to recover? Is it going to be 20 to 30 years? Will we never see another winning season again if Tomlin goes? I don't know.
Yeah, that's really hard. And I will say, I think two things can be true at the same time. Yes, we are spoiled. We are definitely spoiled because, like you said, there's plenty of other fan bases that would be thrilled to be in the position we're in. In fact, Steve, if you would have told me in the summer that the last game of the season against Baltimore will be for the division, and if we win the division, I think I would have been really happy. I would have been like, wow, that's actually a pretty good season given, the prospects that we had and the 42-year quarterback that we had. I think I would have been very happy with that. But the path to get here and the fact that we had it potentially wrapped up, that's what made everybody angry, and the inconsistencies and pain along the way. So we are spoiled. And at the same time, I think it's fair to demand more. You talked about like the college comparison. Look at Penn State, what they did this year.
Yeah.
Firing Franklin. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Time will definitely tell on that. But they weren't satisfied with, only getting so far and then not getting any.
If Pitt
further.
had the record that Penn State does, people would be, Pitt fans. I mean, you would be terribly hard pressed to, be angry about it, But
and that's a tough thing. If you are going to get rid of Tomlin or Harbaugh, whoever comes into those roles is going to have to live under those same set of expectations. And not everybody can do that, honestly. And if you want to do more comparison, Steve, look at the rest of our division.
Yeah.
Stefanski's a 2-time coach of the year, and they stink, even though they were pretty good against us.
Well, he's probably, I would be surprised if he survives this season.
Yeah, and honestly. Zach Taylor might not survive either.
Well, that's another one they almost had. Like, I don't see how he survives. Like,
right.
He just refuses to work on his defense. Like, now that might be more of a GM problem, but why can't you at least build if they just have a mediocre defense in the last 2 years, Cincinnati wins the division twice, running away with it.
And if Cleveland even had a mediocre quarterback instead of paying all that money to Watson, they would have.
Well, if they would have kept Flacco, like they had, like, that's the most frustrating thing is the Bengals should have 2 more wins. They had the Jets and the Bears beat. Yep. And they just literally had to make a tackle both times, and they just refused to do it.
So I think it is a good exercise, like you're saying, too, to put things in perspective a little bit. Again, if you look at big picture, this season, we did not have a team built to win a Super Bowl. We just didn't. I'm sorry.
That's why we're winning the Super Bowl.
I don't care. Anybody that objectively looked at our roster in August and said, this is a contending team, was fooling themselves. It was a team that had a chance to go to the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game. And that's the position we're actually in. So if you look at it big picture, it's about where we all, I think they're close to their ceiling. It's just frustrating that that's their ceiling at this point. And Baltimore fans feel the same way. Lamar Jackson is supposed to be, he's this league MVP. He's a generational player. They've never gotten to a Super Bowl with him. And he might not even play Sunday night. And honestly, I kind of hope he does, because I think Tyler Huntley's playing better than him right now, and he never plays great against us. I kind of hope he does play, and that says a lot about where he is at this point. So, like I said, whoever loses, that's going to be a lot of questions to ask. And then if the other team loses next week, it's going to be the same questions.
Well, we'll all find out next episode on the same bat time, same bat channel. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll keep this going for however long this season drags on. Thank you for tuning in. Keep liking us on Facebook and all the podcast services that you see us on. We love it. Give us all comments. Tell us how you think, like, Mike Tomlin's the greatest coach ever and he should never get fired, or you should fire him immediately. I don't know. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.